Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Today, we are looking at a company that, feels like it's been around forever, yet somehow just had the best 3 months in its entire history. We're talking about Garmin.
It's a fascinating case study, really. I mean, if you looked at tech predictions from, say, 2010 or 2012,
Right.
almost everyone would have told you that the smartphone killed the GPS star.
Right. The logic was undeniable. Why would I buy a dedicated GPS unit when I have Google Maps or Apple Maps right here in my pocket for free?
Exactly. That was the prevailing wisdom, and yet here we are in 2026. We've got the Q4 2025 earnings report in front of us, the slide deck, the call transcript, and the headline is just massive. Garmin has clocked its first ever quarter with over $2 billion in revenue.
$2 billion.
Yeah.
With a B.
In a single quarter.
That is just wild to me. So the mission for today is to figure out how. How does the legacy GPS company not only survive the smartphone era, but smash records during a time when the global economy is, frankly, a little messy?
It is messy. We've got supply chain headaches. We've got what management is calling generationally high tariffs.
And yet they are growing. And not just, inching forward, they are leaping.
They really are.
So we're going to unpack the numbers, but I also want to get into the tech. Because reading through this report, there is some absolute sci-fi stuff happening here. We are going to talk about planes landing themselves.
It's incredible engineering. But what's even more interesting to me is the business strategy that allows them to build that sci-fi tech profitably. It's a strategy that really goes against the grain of almost every other major tech company today.
All right, let's start with the scoreboard then. The headline number is $2.125 billion in revenue for the fourth quarter. That's up 17% year over year.
And just to give that some context, usually a company this mature, Garmin has been around since 1989. They're happy with 4 or 5% growth. Wall Street calls that steady.
Sure.
17%. That is growth stock territory. That's startup territory.
And looking at the full year for 2025, they hit $7.25 billion. That's up 15%. But, we always say revenue's vanity, profit is sanity. Are they actually keeping any of this money?
They are keeping a lot of it. This isn't one of those growth at all costs situations. Operating income for the quarter was $614 million. That's up 19%. And their pro forma earnings per share hit $2.79.
Okay, can we pause on pro forma for a second? I see that term thrown around all the time in earnings reports. It always sounds a bit like, accounting magic. What does that actually mean here?
Sure. So pro forma basically just means earnings calculated without the one-time weird stuff. It strips out things like foreign currency fluctuations or one-off tax penalties. It's the number Wall Street uses to see if the core business, the actual engine of the company, is healthy.
So there's a real signal, not the noise.
Exactly. And in this case, beating expectations comfortably on a pro forma basis means the core engine is running very, very hot.
Okay, so the engine is hot. But usually when I see a blowout quarter like this from a consumer electronics company, it's because they had one mega hit product. Is that what happened here? Did everyone just buy the same running watch?
And that's the most impressive part. It wasn't just one thing. This is what we call broad-based demand. 3 out of their 5 business segments saw double-digit growth.
3 out of 5.
It's not a table standing on one leg. It's a fortress. If one segment has a bad quarter, the others can prop it up.
Okay, so let's talk about the biggest leg of that fortress right now. Fitness.
Fitness is absolutely the heavy lifter here. Revenue in that segment was up 42% in Q4.
42%. In a market that's supposed to be saturated? Everyone who wants a smartwatch has one by now, right?
You would think so. But Garmin is managing to do 2 things at once. They are riding a market that is still actually growing, but they are also
taking market share.
They're taking market share from competitors, and they are doing it by moving up market.
I noticed that. They aren't trying to sell $50 trackers to compete with the cheap stuff. These are premium devices.
Precisely. They are selling tools, not toys. And they pulled a strategic move in Q4 that I think is brilliant. It wasn't hardware. It was a partnership. Did you catch the note about TrueMed?
I did, and I really wanted to ask you about that because it seems like a cheat code. It allows people to use HSA and FSA funds.
Right. So for anyone who isn't deep in the U.S. healthcare tax code, an HSA or FSA lets you use pre-tax money for medical expenses, usually for things like copays or prescription glasses.
Or Band-Aids and sunscreen if you're desperate at the end of the year.
Right. But Garmin partnered with a company called TrueMed, and this allows customers to use that pre-tax money to buy select Garmin smartwatches.
That's the aha moment for me. Because if I'm sitting on $500 in my FSA at the end of December, and I know I'm going to lose it if I don't spend it.
Yeah.
Suddenly the math changes.
Exactly. Suddenly, that $600 Garmin watch feels, well, basically free, or at least heavily discounted, because you're using dollars that would otherwise just vanish.
It effectively lowers the price for the consumer without Garmin having to lower their margin.
That's it. It positions the device not as a gadget, but as a prescribed health tool. And that narrative shift is huge. It ties directly into their new subscription push, Connect Plus.
Right, the software side. They're adding AI to the app.
They are calling it active intelligence for nutrition tracking.
Is this just buzzword marketing speak? Because everything has AI now.
Yeah.
Is this actually useful?
It seems to be real.
Mhm.
I mean, think about how most nutrition apps work. They're passive. You type in, I ate a banana, and it says, okay, that's 100 calories. Garmin is trying to close the loop. The watch knows you just ran 10K, so the AI can say, you need to replenish glycogen. Now, here is what you should eat.
So it's contextual. It's like having a coach.
It's actionable. And they are still winning hardware awards, too. The Venue 4 and the Forerunner 9.7 both grabbed innovation awards at CES 2026.
So they're still pushing the hardware.
Definitely. But let's shift gears to the outdoor segment, because if you just look at the spreadsheet without context, this looks like the weak link.
Yeah, I saw that. Revenue was flat in Q4 compared to last year.
Yeah.
Is the hiking boom over? Did everyone go back inside?
No, this is a classic case of what we call tough comps,
Tough comps.
tough comparisons. In Q4 of 2024, the previous year, Garmin had a massive slate of product launches. They refreshed almost the whole outdoor line, so everyone upgraded them.
Ah, I see.
So matching that revenue this year without that same launch cycle is actually impressive. It's flat, but it's flat against a giant spike.
Got it. So it's not that sales died, it's that the bar was set incredibly high.
Exactly. And full year growth was still 5%. Plus, they're rolling out the Fenix 8 Pro.
The one with the micro LED screen.
Right. And for outdoor enthusiasts, micro LED is a big deal. We're used to OLED screens on phones, which look great but eat battery and can be hard to read in direct sunlight. Micro LED is brighter, which you need on a mountain, but it's also more energy efficient. That's the holy grail for a watch you're taking into the backcountry for a week.
But the device that really caught my eye in the outdoor segment wasn't a watch. It was the InReach Mini 3 Plus.
This is such a vital piece of technology.
I've used the older versions. It's basically a satellite pager. You send an I'm OK text or hit the SOS button, but the new one does. Photos.
Voice, text, and photo sharing over satellite.
How is that even possible? Satellite bandwidth is tiny. It's like trying to stream Netflix over a dial-up modem.
That's the engineering magic. But think about the use case. You are hiking alone. You slip and break your ankle.
Okay.
With the old device, you hit SOS. Rescuers get a coordinate. They don't know if you're lost, having a heart attack, or trapped under a rock.
Right, they just know someone needs help here.
With the Mini 3 Plus, you can send a voice note explaining the situation. Or, even better, snap a photo of your injury. That context changes the entire rescue mission.
It transforms it from a panic button into a communication tool. That is genuinely life-saving stuff.
And speaking of life-saving, we have to talk about aviation.
Yes, this is the story that gave me chills reading the transcript.
Aviation revenue was up 16%, but the numbers don't tell the story. The story is December 20, 2025.
Just 2 months ago.
An aircraft was flying over the Rocky Mountains. It was winter, terrible visibility.
Not a good place to have a problem.
No, and they experienced rapid depressurization.
Which, for listeners who aren't pilots, that is terrifying. At altitude, without pressure, you lose consciousness from hypoxia extremely fast.
Correct. The pilot was incapacitated. In almost any other case, this ends in a crash, a ghost plane scenario. But this plane had the Garmin Auto Land system.
And this wasn't a test flight. This was real.
This was the first time in a real-world emergency that the system fully took over.
So what does took over even mean?
It's much more than just an autopilot. The system realized the pilot was unresponsive. It took control. It assessed the terrain. It had to dodge mountains. It calculated a route to the nearest suitable airport. It communicated with air traffic control.
It talked to air traffic control.
Yes. It uses a synthesized voice to declare the emergency on the radio. It then lowered the landing gear, lined up with the runway, and landed the plane.
That is unbelievable. It saved them.
Returned them safely to the ground. Without it, that was a fatal accident, period.
You know, tech companies throw around the word revolutionary for a slightly faster phone charger.
Yeah.
But that is actually revolutionary.
And that is why Garmin has such a moat in aviation. When you can prove your avionics package literally saves lives, people buy it, it becomes non-negotiable.
And it's not just private planes. I saw they got a contract with the Brazilian Air Force.
Yes, for the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters. That's a military workhorse. And it signals a big shift. Militaries used to want custom-built, incredibly expensive mil-spec gear. Now they are looking at commercial off-the-shelf technology.
Because the civilian tech has gotten so good.
Exactly. Why spend billions developing a custom cockpit when Garmin has one ready to go that works better and is cheaper?
And to support all this, they're buying big hangars. I saw the note about the new facility in Mesa, Arizona.
Right. You don't buy a massive hangar to work on little Cessnas. That signals they want to do certification for larger aircraft, business jets, maybe even regional transport. They're moving up.
Okay, moving from the air to the water, marine was up 18%.
Yeah, the marine market is notoriously volatile, but management says it's finding its footing. And again, the strategy is high-end tech.
The GPS MA9000 series, it has 4K resolution. I had to play devil's advocate here. Why on earth do I need a 4K screen on a fishing boat? Am I watching movies?
Laughs. You could, but no. It's about sonar definition. A standard screen shows a blob. A 4K screen with high-res sonar can show you the separation between a rock and the prize fish hiding behind it.
So it's the difference between there's something down there and there's a 50-pound tuna down there.
Exactly. But again, they pair the luxury with safety. They won an award for the Garmin onboard system.
The man overboard thing.
Right. It's wireless. The captain wears a fob. If they fall overboard, the system detects the signal break and instantly kills the engine.
That's smart. Because nobody wears that red curly cord attached to the kill switch.
Exactly. This gives you freedom and safety. It's the recurring theme. High tech that keeps you safe without getting in your way.
Okay, we have to address the elephant in the room. Auto OEM.
The original bread and butter.
It's the only segment losing money. An operating loss of $14 million in Q4. Why do they keep doing this? Why not just kill it?
It's a very fair question, but you have to look at the partnerships. They announced a major program with Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes is a good friend to have.
They are, and the key is the timeline. Management was very clear. 2026 is a transition year. They are eating losses now to ramp up production for the Mercedes fleet, which hits the road in early 2027.
So this is a loss leader strategy.
In a way. They are betting that once that Mercedes program hits scale, it becomes a profit engine. And they're building what they call domain controllers.
Which is what exactly?
Think of it as the brain of the car's cockpit. It's not just a navigation screen. It's the computer running the entire dashboard experience. If Garmin can be the brain for Mercedes, that opens up the rest of the luxury car market.
So they are trying to be the Intel Inside for luxury cars.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we have a company firing on almost all cylinders, but management used that phrase, generationally high tariffs. How are they dealing with that?
Right. And rising memory chip costs. That should be crushing their margins.
But it's not.
It's not. And this is where we get into the real secret sauce. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. Vertical integration.
Break that down. What does it actually look like for Garmin?
For most companies, manufacturing means calling a factory in China and saying, build this.
Like Apple and Foxconn.
Right. Garmin is different. They own their factories. They have 3 massive plants in Taiwan. They don't just assemble, they manufacture the subcomponents.
So they control the whole stack.
Everything. And this allows them to use inventory as a weapon. They said in the call that they intentionally increased inventory levels.
But isn't that bad? Just-in-time delivery and all that.
Just-in-time works great until the supply chain breaks.
Yeah.
Garmin saw the tariffs coming. By building the product before the tariffs hit and before component prices spiked, they locked in lower costs.
So while their competitors are paying 15% more right now, Garmin is selling stuff they built 3 months ago at the old price.
Precisely. It gives them a buffer other companies don't have. And that is why they can project revenue hitting $7.9 billion in 2026 and operating income crossing $2 billion.
They are playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
It seems that way, and they are confident enough to hand cash back to shareholders. They propose a dividend increase of 17% and a new $500 million buyback.
You don't spend $500 million buying your own stock if you're worried about the lights going out.
No, you do not. That is a signal of extreme confidence.
So let's wrap this up. We started by asking how Garmin pivoted from a car GPS company to this lifestyle giant?
And I think the answer is that they stopped selling maps and started selling confidence.
I like that.
Confidence that your plane will land, confidence that rescuers will find you, or confidence that you're training correctly for a marathon. They find these passionate niches and build the absolute best tool for them,
And then they connect those tools to a platform.
which creates a loyalty loop that is very hard to break. Once all your health data is in Garmin Connect, you aren't switching brands to save $50.
So here is my final thought for you to chew on. We see them pushing into subscriptions with Connect Plus. We see them getting into financial transactions with TrueMed. We see AI nutrition tracking.
I see where you're going with this.
Are they evolving from a device manufacturer into a comprehensive health platform? And here's the wild card. Insurance companies love data. They love preventative health. If Garmin has the data proving I'm running and sleeping well,
Do we see a Garmin insurance product? Or a partnership where your premiums drop if you wear a Venu?
exactly. And with the auto segment ramping up, if they own the dashboard and the wrist, they know how you drive and how you live. That is a powerful amount of data.
The monetization potential there is way higher than just selling a piece of hardware every few years. That is the long-term play.
Something to think about. That is all for this deep dive into Garmin's record-breaking 2025. Stay curious, keep looking for the why behind the numbers, and we will catch you on the next one.
Goodbye, everyone.